Evaluating expressions, Lesson B notes, the definitions. If you have a paper copy of the notes, please use those to fill out your notes. If not, make sure you upload the notes to Notability and go from there. I want you to start by copying down the 5 definitions. Pause your video, get the 5 definitions written down. The top 3 are on the bottom of the first page, and then the bottom 2 definitions are on the back of the first page. So go ahead, pause your video, and get those written down. Okay. A variable is a letter that represents a value that can change or vary. Most common variable used in math is an x. If you have an x, a variable, the x could be 2, it could be 5, it could be a million, it could be negative 3,000, it could be 0.00001. The value of x can vary, and because the value can vary, that's why it's called a variable. The coefficient is the number multiplied by the variable. In other words, it's the number in front of the variable. When you have a number right beside a variable, that means multiplication. So if you look at the 30n at the top of the page, the 30 would represent the coefficient, and the n would represent the variable. Go ahead, pause your video, and get those written down. All right, now, this right here represents multiplication. A number beside a variable means multiplication. You're going to multiply. So 30n means 30 times whatever the value of n is. So if n was 1, 30 times 1 is 30. If n was 2, 30 times 2 is 60, and so forth. Algebraic expression. An algebraic expression has one or more variables. Well, before we talk about an algebraic expression, we need to talk about what an expression is. If you had 5, that is an expression. 5 plus 2 is an expression. 3 minus 8 is an expression. Those are numeric expressions. If I put a variable with it, it now becomes an algebraic expression. 5x would be an algebraic expression. 5y plus 2 is an algebraic expression. 3y minus 4 is an algebraic expression. Just the letter z is an algebraic expression. So in order to be an algebraic expression, it has to have a variable. If you look at this algebraic expression right here, 5 would be our coefficient. The y is the variable. But what is this number at the end? That value doesn't change. No matter what y is, you're always adding 2 at the end. That value doesn't change. When you have something that doesn't change, it remains constant. So the 6 at the end of this algebraic expression is considered a constant. Pause your video and get that written down. All right, now a constant again is a number that is added or subtracted in an algebraic expression that does not change. The 2x, that part can vary depending on what x is, but you're always adding 6 at the end. So the 6 is a constant. When you evaluate algebraic expressions, you substitute a given number for the variable, then find the value of the resulting numerical expression. That's just a fancy way of saying they're going to give you a value for the variable, plug it in, and solve. When they give you the value for a variable, plug it in and solve. Before we go to example 1 and evaluating these expressions, I want to show you something. You will eventually be given a bell work that's very similar to this. And you need to determine what the coefficient, variable, and constant is for each problem. If you look at the first one, the coefficient is 4. It's the number in front of the variable. The variable is x. And the constant that is added at the end is a 9. For the second one, the coefficient, the number in front of the variable, is 3. The variable is y. And the constant, you got to be careful on this one. The constant is the number that is added or subtracted. In this case, it is the -8. Keep the sign in front of the number. That is a -8. For number 3, when there is no number in front of a variable, when you can't see a number, that number would be 1. So in this case, the coefficient is 1, the variable is w, and the constant is +7. For the next one, again, there's no number. There is a negative sign, but there's no number in front of the z. Well, we'll put a 1 there anyway. So in other words, the coefficient is -1. The variable is z. And yes, I put a line through my z's. It keeps it from looking like a 2. And the constant is that number on the end, which is -4. Last one. Again, there's no number in front of the variable, so I'm going to put a 1. So my coefficient is -1. The variable is q. And in this case, there is no constant, or you could say that the constant is 0. So you will be getting a bell work, which should be fairly simple. If you have any trouble, refer to this to know what to do. If you have any questions about variables, coefficients, or constants, or how to evaluate an algebraic expression, just ask.